Hello everybody, and welcome to the VideoScribe Discover VideoScribe webinar. I hope you're all excited about learning a few tips and tricks with our product today. My name is Barry, I'm the support manager here at VideoScribe, and I'm going to be taking you through the basics of creating a video with the amazing product that is VideoScribe. I'm also joined by my colleague Jonathan, or Jay as he likes to be called, on chat. So if you have any questions while I'm going through how to use VideoScribe, feel free to jump onto chat and ask them, and Jay will do his best to answer them. And the most kind of popular or most asked questions we'll go over at the end as well. The webinar is going to take about 45 to 50 minutes for me to run through everything and create a project. And then you'll have 10 to 15 minutes at the end to go over any questions you may have. In this webinar, we're going to cover adding elements to your scribe. So that's images and text. We're going to set some scenes using the camera, add some audio, and finally publish our work to a video file. Cool, so let's get started. So VideoScribe, once you've downloaded and installed it and double clicked on the little icon on your desktop, will open and look a little bit like this. You need to put your username and your password in and just click log on. This will open what we call the project screen. So this screen shows all of your previous projects that you've had created and allows you to create a new one. Because this is a new install of the software, we've only got the example scribe, which is available for free to everyone. But we're going to create a new project. So you click on the Create a New Scribe button here. And this opens the workspace where you do all your work and make the magic happen. This bit in the middle is called the canvas. It's where you put all your images and lay them out so they work. And then you've got various options around that, which we'll go over during the course of this webinar. We'll start with adding an image to the page, which is done using this box here. When you press that button, it's immediately going to load for you your most recently used images. So I've created a project already in the lead up to this webinar and used some images. So your most recently used will always show there. But you also have some folders down the left-hand side of the page here, where all of our images are categorized and available to you. There's quite a long list there, and you can go through them one by one. One of the best things about VideoScribe is you don't need to be an artist. We have over 5,000 images now in our VideoScribe library, and you can just click through the folders, find the one you want, and add it to the canvas. So I'm going to start by going into the people folder, and I am going to pick a woman who looks a little bit stressed out to start my scribe. And that's as simple as that to add an image to the canvas. We have various controls available to you to help you resize and reposition that. So you've got little squares in the corner here, and I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller and move it over by clicking on it and dragging to bring it down here. Just to prove that it works that easily, I'm just going to hit play up in the top corner. And you'll see that VideoScribe animates the image automatically. So you do not need any technical knowledge, any know-how. You just grab the images straight out of our folders and you just put them straight onto the canvas and they'll draw for you. Okay, so the scribe I'm going to make today is about going on holiday or needing a holiday. So I'm starting with a lady here who's looking a bit stressed and looks like she might need a holiday. So I'm now going to show you another area of the image library. So we go back down to here, add a new image again. And as well as browsing the folders, you can search. There's a search box up here. So if I search for bubble, I'm going to return lots and lots of different bubbles and speech bubbles and thought bubbles. And I'm going to pick this one here and add that to the canvas. Now I want that to kind of fill up the rest of the screen a bit. So I'm going to drag that here and move that to there. And there you go. So you've got a stressed out woman and she's having some thoughts as a start. The other thing that's quite nice about VideoScribe is how easy it is to see your work and change things around. So at the bottom of the screen here, you've got what we call the timeline. Now you can see I've added 2 images to the timeline. So there's the woman and there's the speech bubble. Should I want to reorder things, I just click, hold and drag. And it's that simple. And you're going to see it. So that's the order. It will animate things. So the first thing that's going to be animated on this timeline as it is now is the woman. And then we go on to the speech bubble. You're not just limited to images, however. You can add all sorts of things to our canvas. We have a charts box here, which you can use. We're not going to go into it in this webinar, but it's fairly easy to understand once you click on it. So give that a go at home. But you can also add some text. So I'm going to add some text next into our speech bubble. So she's not very happy at the moment. She's feeling a bit stressed. So I'm literally going to put the word stressed, and she's very stressed. So let's go with a couple of exclamation marks. From this text box, you can change the font. If you've got any others installed on your machine, it's really easy to install some. Just click on Manage Fonts. And every font you have installed on your machine will be down here, and you can just click the plus there to add that to the machine if you want to. I'll just use the basic one for now. Change the color and the alignment as well from here. So she's stressed out. Let's make that one red and hit the tick to add it. And there it is on the canvas. Again, all of these things are easily resized and moved. So you just pick it up, drag. I'll make that a little bit smaller. There you go. So that's the text added as well. That animates itself. So again, you don't need to worry about anything in terms of designing things. You just add your text, add your images, and away you go. So we need to solve her stress, and we're talking about going on holiday. So I am going to wipe the stress away from her life, and I'm going to give her the idea to go on holiday. To do that, I'm going to go back to the image library. And from here, I'm going to search for blank out. Now, blank out's a very special image in our library. It allows you to basically rub things out from the canvas. So remember, VideoScribe is a whiteboard animation tool. We want to make videos that look like they're being drawn on a whiteboard. And generally speaking, stuff on a whiteboard won't just disappear. So what blank out allows you to do, if I select that one there, is resize that white square, place it over the text that I no longer want to be there, and it disappears. So now on the timeline, you can see the woman's going to be drawn, the thought bubble, the text is stressed, and then she's going to have that disappear. And we want to give her the thought of a holiday instead. And we're going to do that with a few images. We're going to go to our buildings library. The first building happens to be an airport, so we'll use that one. We're going to resize that, and we're going to put it over here. We're going to go back to the image library, grab an arrow this time. She's going that way. Resize that, and put it over here. And finally, we're going to add some sunshine. Now you can see I used some sunshine earlier on, so it's here in my recently used images, or you can just search. So if I search for sun, there it is, and there's lots of different options available to you for clouds and sunshine. Again, resize that. I'll move that over here. There you go. And there's our first scene created for you. So I'm just going to play that back. We've added 7 items into our timeline. We've only been going a few minutes. And the key to that really is being prepared. So this is a webinar for you guys. I wanted to make it look, I wanted to make it look as easy as it is, but it takes a little bit of preparation. So the key to VideoScribe is have an idea of your story in your mind, have a think about what you want it to look like, and maybe even draw some little sketches on paper before you start to give you an idea of the type of thing you want to build up, and that will make it all come together a lot nicer when you start. So if I hit play, which is this button up here, play from start, it's going to start by drawing the woman. It's then going to draw her thought bubble. And show that she's stressed. So as this is playing, you can see that VideoScribe is moving to center everything you have added on the screen. So it's zooming in and centering everything that you've added as an individual image. And that's a default, what we call camera position for VideoScribe. A little bit later, I will show you how to change that up. Excellent. So there you go, there's our first scene created. It's that simple, really. You'll notice that every now and then VideoScribe is just showing the little logo for a second or two. What that is, that's an autosave. So if anything goes wrong, your file's going to be there for you and saved. So you can change those settings to make it a bit less frequent if you want to, but by default, it will do it every few minutes. So that's scene one done. You heard me talking about the canvas. So the canvas is this white area here. And a lot of you are probably used to making presentations on something like PowerPoint, where you would have slides and things like that. VideoScribe doesn't work that way. We find that quite restrictive. And so we've built it to allow you to be as creative as you would like to be. So if I click on the canvas and use the scroll wheel in the middle of my mouse, or I can use these zoom in and zoom out buttons here, but I'm just going to use the scroll wheel for the quickness sake. You can see just how big this canvas is and how many directions it goes. So if I wanted to build that as a scene and move on to another one, I could literally either use these arrows to move things across, up and down, left and right, or I can just click on a blank area of the canvas and drag and move things off screen. So if I ever want to start a new page, it's all one page, but you can just move to a new blank area of it and start from a fresh area of the canvas and have a nice white background. So you saw before that everything there is going to be zoomed in on, but I actually want to create scenes, a bit like slides as such. And to do that, as I said, we have the camera position. And that is controlling basically where the camera is going to show your images. To change that, you can either do that for every individual item you have available to you here, but I'm going to do it for the lot. So I'm going to click on the last image in my scene, hold down the Shift key, and click on the first one. There you go. And you'll notice that now I've got some things selected on my timeline. All of them have turned blue. This lovely button down here in the corner, the camera with a tick in it, has become active. And I can tick on that one. And what that will do is it means the camera will now not move every time one of those images will drawn, and they will be drawn in situ. I'll just click play so you can see the change. Now, rather than being quite as big when she's drawn, she's showing as she was when I click that tick. You'll then get the speech bubble drawn. She's feeling stressed. And we're going to rub that out and replace it with the idea of jumping on a plane and flying off to the sunshine. And so all those are being drawn from the same position. I'm just going to stop that one there because you all know what's coming next. And then we can move on somewhere else to start a new scene. As I said, zoom out, zoom in, or just drag. And so I'm just going to drag them all up out of the way and start a new scene below. I'm going to start by searching for an image. This scene, I'm going to start with a piece of scenery and we're going to build up from there. So if I search for a nice beach, there you go. There's a beach scene here and I'll use that one and drag that, make it nice and big and fill up the view. Now we want some continuity between our slides. We want it to look the same and have the same style. So I'm going to use some of our recently used images. I'm going to grab the sun again And I'm going to put that in the sky. And I am going to go back to add an image, and I'm going to go back to the people female folder where we got the original person here who was looking a bit stressed, but she's happy now. She's on the beach. So we're going to go with the next image along where she's looking a lot more excited about life. Awesome. And we're going to go back and add yet another image. Go back to her original thought bubble, resize that a bit, and you can use the arrows on the keyboard to move things if you don't want to use the mouse as well. There's another little neat trick for you. And put her thought there. And finally, life is now great. Don't be afraid to use carriage returns in here as well if you want to space things out a little bit differently. So I'm going to center align this text, and I'm going to leave it as black this time. But life is great over 2 lines. Appears down here, and I'm going to use the arrows again on the keyboard, put it in there, and make it a bit bigger. There you go. Perfect. Okay, so that's our second scene. Now remember the camera, it's really crucial. So if I was to play this now from this element here, so this is the other thing you can do with VideoScribe. So that sun was the end of our first scene. If I open the quick menu, this is the timeline quick menu. It's another really cool piece of kit for you. What this will allow you to do is do all sorts of bits and bobs with the actual scribe itself. This little camera here and this little camera with an eye will let you jump to that image on your canvas. So remember, that is the last image in this scene. And if I click on this one and play from here, play from current element, you'll see that this second part of the scene is going to be drawn using the default camera positions, again, zooming in and out, which is not what we want for this scribe. So I'm going to stop that there, go zoom back out, using the scroll wheel on my mouse, center align it all so it's all appearing on the screen. There you go, looks good. And select each element that I've just added. You can, using control and click right up to life is great. And then that button there again, set camera to current position, will become available to you. Brilliant. And you can click that, and that's now all going to appear together. Some other things you might want to look at is your timings and bits and bobs. So when you're watching your video back, I'm going to play this one from the start. You'll notice that some of these drawings are quite slow. They draw in real nice detail, and actually sometimes with drawings, having them draw slow is really useful. It gives you time to talk, but it also allows people to see the detail of your image if that's what you would like. But I want this to be a bit more fast paced. So there's a really, really, really easy way to deal with that. From this timeline down here, you can click on the menu to pop it out. And you have these 3 options available to you. So you have animate time. Animate time will cover how long it's going to take for the image to be drawn onto screen. You have pause time, so that's how long the camera is going to pause in its current position after the element's finished. And you have transition time. Transition time is the amount of time it's going to take the camera to move from one place to another to draw the next image. In this group of images, there is no camera movement, so your transition just becomes extra pause time. However, there is a movement after the last element in the screen, so it will take a second to move to there, down to your other scene. So I'm just going to quickly whip through these, and I'm going to bring the animate time down to a couple of seconds, and you can vary it depending on the detail of the image. So that's just a bubble filled, so I'm going to make that 1.5. This one is 2 seconds long, maybe a little bit more because it's a person. That's just one word, so we'll just go with half a second for that. Out in a second. And this one's got a bit more detail, so we'll go with 2 seconds for that one. You want to speed it up, you don't have to use some pluses and minuses, just click in the box and it will come up and you can just type in 1 and that will change things for you. Same with this one. This scene's quite detailed, so we'll go with 4 seconds. You keep clicking along and changing your timings. It's that simple. So now when you play that back, everything's going to move that little bit faster for you. The woman's drawn a bit quicker, there's your bubble, and it's just got a nicer pace and feel to it. Every time you preview your scribe, I'd recommend that you're watching it with kind of a critical eye to make your scribe the best it can be. Every time I watch back a project, until I'm truly happy with it, I'm always looking at, oh, could that be quicker? Could that be slower? How does that fit the timing of my voiceover and things like that? It's so easy just to click on an element and adjust the timings a little bit. It's literally just a couple of clicks and it's worth the effort to make everything look good. So there's our 2 scenes. Fairly simple. Awesome. You also notice on the timeline at the bottom, you've got timings. So if you've got a limit in mind for how long you want your scribe to be, or you need to know roughly how long it's been going on for so far, you can see 2 timings underneath each box here on the timeline, each element. So this one, because it's the first one, will start 0 seconds in and will finish 4 seconds in. And that is because it animates for 2.5 seconds, it pauses for ½ a second, and it takes a second to transition, so that totals 4 seconds, and so on as you go through. So this one starts at 4, finishes at 7, and you can see the project so far in total is 38 seconds for those 2 particular options. Cool. Awesome. So that's the first 2 scenes done. I'm going to create one more, so I'm just going to go back to this scene by clicking on it, clicking on the camera and the view. There you go. So now we're in the right place and we'll go down again. Now my favourite thing about holidays is the fact you are making memories. Okay, so I'm going to put that at the top of the screen a little bit bigger. I'm going to add an image, and this time I'm going to add a frame. Okay. And you can resize that. So as I was saying earlier, we've got 5,000 images in our library, which is a pretty big list for you to pick from. And we also encourage you to get in contact with us and speak to us about things if you can't find what you need. If you go to our help site, we have a what images would you like to see site, community forum, where you can type in there what you would like to see from VideoScribe, which is really nice. We don't we don't know exactly what everyone in the world wants, so we're really interested in hearing what you want to see. But if that's not enough for you and you don't have enough images in the library, you can bring in your own. So I'm going to import an image into this frame to show a memory from a holiday. To do that, you click the Add an Image button. Now, instead of going to any of the folders here, or my recently used, or doing a search, I'm going to use this little button down here. And you can import an SVG, a GIF, a bitmap file, or a JPEG. Cool. If I go to my downloads folder, here's one I created earlier, and we're going to bring that in. Cool. Takes a couple of seconds to import, but it's a fairly big file. I'm just going to preview that to make sure I'm happy. As you can see, VideoScribe with complex images like this one, which is a very, very detailed picture, will just reveal it. It will do it from right to left. There are other options if you're bringing in sketch drawings, but for a photo like this, that's going to be the perfect way of doing things. So I'm going to import that onto the canvas, gets added there. I'm going to move it. And I'm just going to resize my frame a little so it frames it a lot nicer. There you go. Again, don't forget one of the most important things, if you are going to create a scribe which is based on scenes like we are here, select your items that are on your scene. So there's those 3 selected in blue, get them positioned as you would like to see them, and click that set camera position. Cool. Okay. I want to show you just 1 or 2 more things before we're finished that can really help you bring your scribe to life. Everything you see on screen here is being drawn. Okay, so you are going to see the hand come in, and the hand is going to draw everything you're seeing on screen. That's kind of our default mode. It's what we're known for, and it's a brilliant way to make a scribe, but there are other options available to you. So for example, if I come back to this sun on our second scene, click on the camera change settings and view its current position, I'm going to move that sun into position rather than draw it, so it appears on screen in a different way. I can do that by either double clicking on the icon here, or you see this little button here, that's called your element properties, and in here you can do all sorts of things. Okay, so these are your element properties. If you decide you don't like this sun and you want to use another one, you can hit the select image tab and search again and replace the image directly on the canvas. So you don't need to delete it and add a new one. You can just do a direct replace there for another sun if you wanted to. You've got some filters where you can add blur, glow, brightness, shadows, all sorts of stuff. I'm not going to go into that now. The best way to do that is just have a play, have some fun and see what you like. It's really a matter of personal perspective there. But under drawing options, this is the main one we're going to focus on. Everything, as I said, will default to draw when it's added to the canvas, but you do have other options. Move in and fade in are 2 that I'm going to show you now. So move in will give you a few options here. You can choose the angle. So this is where you want it to come in from. So if you want it to come in from the top of the canvas straight down, you can use that option. You could have it bouncing into place or overshooting and coming back, but I'm just going to have a nice smooth move. And again, here I've got access to my animate times, pause times, and transition times if I want to change those. But the other thing I'd like to do with this particular hand is the sun is too hot to handle. So if you're going to move it into place, you're not going to be doing it with your hand. So I'm going to select the no hand option. So that will now just float into view, and click that when it's drawn in a moment. So just to recap, I have dropped down this box here. I've changed that to move. I have put it from the top of the screen, and I've clicked on the drawing hand tab and selected no hand. I'm going to save those changes. The other option I want to show you is fade. Now I think thoughts fade in and out of our head, so I'm going to do that with the thought bubble. So again, click on the thought bubble in your timeline. Either click on element properties, or you can double click on the file. Drop down the animation method here, and I'm going to hit fade. Okay, again, that's going to animate in a second and a half, and all that's going to do is just appear and fade onto the canvas. The final thing I want to show you and to put an idea in your head about is another thing to do with hands that you can use in VideoScribe. I scroll over here and pick our blank out item. Again, select the camera and view. So I pop to where it's going to be. I'm going to double click to open the properties, and I'm going to click on the drawing hand option. Now this is removing something from our canvas. So we don't really want to do it with a pen, which is what the default hand is. We have lots of hand profiles available to us here. So I'm just going to pick a random one. We'll go with Daniel. And each of these hand profiles can be seen holding a number of pens, pencils, crayons, and all sorts of options, paintbrushes. One of the options, which is usually on page 2 at the bottom on the last line, is a rubber. And so I'm going to select that there. And so that will now be rubbed out. So this is changing these little options here in individual properties for individual elements on your timeline is changing the hand for that one thing. So you can really make things pop out. So now I'm going to play this back from the start and you'll be able to see those changes as they go through. So now, instead of her being stressed and it being rubbed out with the default pen, once stressed is being written, it's being rubbed out with an eraser. She's still going to fly off to the sunshine. This time, the sun is being moved in with no hand from the top of the screen as I set it up. She's still being drawn. Her thought bubble then fades in. And life is great. And she's making some memories. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's a pretty good scribe explaining some of the joys of holiday and how it can help you get over a stressful life. So that's kind of most of the work done, but some of the most important bits are still to happen. So you'll notice that there's no audio. So now I'm going to add some of that for you and show you how to control the sound in VideoScribe. You have two tracks available to you within VideoScribe for audio. You have what we call the soundtrack, which is available from up here, or Scribe Music in this case, and you have the voiceover. I'm going to start by showing you our soundtracks. So all of the soundtracks in here, and you can see there's pages and pages and pages of them for you to go through, preview and look at, are available for you to put on your scribe. You can see some really key information just by looking at the square for each particular track. You can see the name of the track, its duration, and these little boxes underneath are really key. So they are what we call the calm to heavy index. So one box is quite a calm track, 2 boxes is a little bit more up tempo, and 3 and 4 are going to be your faster ones. And if you want to sort by those things, you can here. So automatically by default sorted by name, but you also have the option to sort by length, so either short to long or long to short, and then by the type of track, so heavy to calm or calm to heavy. And you can see as you go through, you get more dots, and also the dots get darker. So the darker the dot, the heavier it is, and then you start to get more dots as it gets even heavier again, and you go all the way through to the end with that button there, and you can see some that have 4 dots and are pinky red to show how heavy they are. It's that simple. I'm going to sort by name. I know the track I want already, so I'm going to try and move forward to the ends. I'm a little bit too far there. One more should do it. Yeah, there you go. I wanted Neon Beats. So if I click on that, you can see it's loaded up here. I'm going to drop the volume down on this. Our webinar software, which we're casting through, boosts the volume of anything that's coming out of the computer quite dramatically. So I'm going to drop that down really, really low so I don't blow your ears away. And I can preview it from here. And also I can loop the track as well if I want to. So you just tick that little box there and it will begin to loop the track. It's quite useful if you've got a really long scribe. It's not necessarily needed here because our scribe's under 1 minute long and we've got a 3 minute and 31 minute track, so we're not going to get to the end of it. But if you've got a 5 minute scribe and you've only got a 38-second piece of audio, click loop and it will just keep looping around until the end. You'll hear that at home. If you've got your own music or you've created your own track, you can import that. So this little button down here will appear on the bottom left of a number of your screens, both for images and for audio, and you can just import your own MP3 file if you want to do that. So I'm just going to tick that and save it to the scribe. The next part is your voiceover. Really helps bring your scribe to life, and that's done using this microphone tab here. So I click on that. You'll have a choice of microphones. I'm just going to use my headset, but any microphone you currently have plugged into your machine will do fine and appear there for you. And this little box called Play Scribe on Record will show my scribe as I am talking. So I'm just going to hit record here. As a demo, I'm only going to record some audio for the first scene of my scribe just to make things quick, but you'll see the principle of it. You can obviously prepare your scripts and have it going throughout your project. As I hit record, I'm going to get a 3-second countdown, and then things will begin for me. Do you need a break? Are you feeling stressed out? Book yourself a holiday and head for some fun in the sun. Okay, I'll stop that there and it will process that audio. Again, could have gone all the way through if I'd wanted to, but I'm just trying to do this for speed to make sure we cover everything. You have the same situation here, so I'm going to just put the audio down a little bit so it matches the level of the other one, but you can mix the 2 tracks depending on whether you want the audio higher or lower, that sort of thing, and you can see the duration there. If I'm not happy, don't be worried about using your own voice. If you're not happy, if it doesn't quite work out first time, that's fine. Little bin icon and start again. You can record this as many times as you like. The import button down here is grayed out at the moment because I have some audio, so I'd have to delete that in order to bring some new stuff in. However, if you don't have anything, you can import it. So if you want to use a external tool like Audacity or something like that, where you can cut and paste sentences and really kind of fine tune audio rather than recording it in one go like you do with VideoScribe, more than welcome to do that. It's a great piece of free software and it allows you to do, just have more control over your audio in that way, and then you can just export that as an MP3 file and just import it straight into. So now when I hit play, you should be able to hear the audio and you should be able to hear me talking. Are you feeling stressed out? Book yourself a holiday and head for some fun in the sun. Excellent, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm just going to show the last scene again so you can see the making memories being drawn in fully. This little box down here, I'm going to untick that. You'd see that when I last did my scribe, it zoomed out and showed everything at the end. So we have what's known as a zoom and end function within VideoScribe, which will do that. It's quite useful actually. I've used it a number of times on a number of scribes. It's really nice for showing everything you've done and a nice summary at the end of your project. Personally, I don't want it on this particular product, so I've removed it. You can either do that from, and I've just done that from the preview screen. So if I hit play from start, you can see it again here, this zoom at end, and you can just tick and untick that depending on whether you want VideoScribe to behave that way. I'll just stop that preview now. So that's me done. That's a 3-scene project. We've been going just under 40 minutes and we've done audio, we've got all of our images, and we've set everything up. So you can see, actually, it's not that difficult to create a video with VideoScribe. I'm just going to save my work. There's a little save and export button in the top corner up here in the top left. This is saving your project. So this is not making a video, this is saving your project within VideoScribe. So I'm just going to call this webinar and hit the tick. And that saves it locally on your machine. It means you can close VideoScribe now, come back tomorrow and make some more edits if you want to. But the thing you're all going to want to do once you've finished, which I have, is publish. And that's done from the top menu bar as well, just on the opposite side. So here you have download or publish your scribe video. And from here, you've got a number of publishing options available to you. You have PowerPoint. What that will do is it will render your video in VideoScribe and put it onto a PowerPoint slide. So one slide, one video on one slide. And you can then build a whole presentation around it. So if you decide you actually still want to use PowerPoint, there's nothing wrong with it, it's a good tool, but you want to make it a bit more exciting, you just embed a VideoScribe video into the middle of your PowerPoint to show an element of your presentation in video form. So yeah, you just click that button, follow a little wizard to name your file, and by the time it's finished rendering, you then have a PowerPoint file saved on your machine with the video in it as a slide. You can upload direct to YouTube. If you've got a channel, obviously, and click that button. It will ask you to log into your YouTube channel and give us permission to post to your YouTube channel, and then it will render the video and put it up there. Those two are available for customers in free trial. You don't get access to the other ones at the moment in free trial. The other options are this one, which is called Show.co. That is Sparkle's very own online video sharing service. When you click that one, you will get some options about how you publish your video. So first of all, privacy settings. Much in the way of YouTube, you can either send something to Showco as private, unlisted, or public. Obviously, private is the most private. You will need to be logged in to Show.co to view your video if it is published as private. It's one of the most common questions we get asked on the help site is, why can't I see my video? I've clicked the link, and it's because you're not logged in. So make sure if you publish something as private, you go to the top of the Showco website and log into your account, and you'll then be able to see what's behind that link. We've also got unlisted and public. Unlisted means that anyone you send the link to will be able to see it. Public means it will be publicly viewable by everyone. I'm going to choose unlisted, click the tick. One of the best things about this is that it renders the video on our servers, so it takes no time at all on your computer. So if you're creating lots of projects and you want to get straight back in and make your next one with VideoScribe, we recommend you use Showco. It's done now. It's sent up to the cloud, and our video production servers are making that video for you, so you don't have to sit there and wait. You get a short link, which is copyable there, and you get an embed code for your website too. Once your video has been published, you will receive an email to your Sparkle email address and get confirmation that that's then available for you to view. And if you are the user of the publisher of that video and you're logged in, you get extra options as well, including being able to download that video as a local file, as an MP4 file, in up to 1080 HD quality. So yeah, that's a really cool way if you're going to make lots of projects of getting things up there quickly and moving on with the next one. The final option, which I'm going to go over, is this download video. So this is to make a local copy of your video on your machine. You get a number of options available to you. QuickTime MOV, WMV, and AVI are your three video formats. We also have image sequences with JPEG and PNG. The PNG one's really cool. So for those of you out there who are video editors, everything that you publish to a PNG image sequence will have what's known as an alpha channel or transparent background. So you can bring it into Adobe Premiere or something like that, another video making tool, and combine it with another video without seeing the white canvas in the background. That's a really, really nice option for any, really keen video makers out there. I'm just going to keep MOV. You've got various sizes or resolutions available to you. Defaults to 640 normal, but you've got 720, 1080, 360 web for mobile, and background to 640 again. Just use the pluses and minuses as you scroll through the options. And then the frame rate as well. You've got everything from 15 up to 50. 25. You then name it, decide where you want to save it. So I'm saving mine here on the C drive of my machine to the desktop, and click the tick, and VideoScribe will start creating your video for you. It just prepares itself, and then you'll see your video in this white box here as it is being created. Depending on the length of your video, the amount of images, the amount of elements, the amount of audio, the quality settings you've had on any elements you've brought in, VideoScribe will take different amounts of times to render different videos, but it will give you a nice progress bar as you go through, and it shows you what's happening on screen. So that covers everything I wanted to talk about with you guys today. I'm just going to let that render for a second or two, and then my colleague Jay, who's been on chat with you throughout the last 45 minutes, is going to send me some questions that I can go over. Let's have a little look what he might send me. Okay, so we've had some questions about scene creation. There's been a question about kind of jumping between two screens or between two scenes. We can do that. And also, if you don't want to do scenes, if you want to do continuous scene creation. So I'll go over that. I'm going to close this render and cancel it. Cool. So here's everything you've got. As I said, the camera position I've set up here is to draw things in scenes, but you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that at all. Every element you add to your canvas has a camera position that you can set manually. Default, it will zoom and center. That's your default, but you can decide how you would like to do it. So if you want to move back and forth between scenes for some reason, for example, let's go to the end of this scene where life is great. Click on the camera and show it. Now, if I wanted to move back, so if I add some text here, so if I put all the stress is gone, for example, but I want to show how stressed she was while I'm doing that. So that's going to come in after life is great. I'm going to click and drag up to our original scene. I'm going to grab the sun there and show you that image, but I'm going to click back on all the stress is great. I'm just going to use the arrow key. And I know that's below, so I'm bringing it up using the arrow key. And I'm just going to put that there. And there you go. And I'm going to set that as a camera position. So this is one element. I've only got this one selected, none others selected, and I can do this from here. So you can see you've got the camera here. That views the camera position. This sets it. Just let it auto-save a second. Give me a moment. There you go. That sets it. So now I'm going to play from this particular element here where she's all happy. To do that, I can just go to top, play from element. Life is good. And then we're moving back up and all the stress has gone. And then you're going back down to making memories, your third scene. So you can jump around. You can, every single element on this canvas, you can decide that I actually want to, for example, I really like this photo, and so I don't want it showing at that size. I want to zoom in on it. I can zoom in, click the tick for that one element, and hit play. And you see now, if I do that from the element before, it's going to draw that, and then zoom in and show that one element. So if you want to highlight certain things in a project, and remember, if you don't want any camera positions and you just want it to follow what you're doing, I can just select all, Control and A will select everything, and I can click that cross there. That cross is going to clear every element's camera position on the canvas, and everything's going to be drawn back to the default way where it follows it around. We've got some really cool examples of creative use of the camera position. If you go to our help site, help.videoscribe.co, and do a search on that page for laying out your scribe, gives you some really cool ideas. And at the bottom of that page is a video that's probably one of my favorite. It's lots and lots of different images being drawn, and when they zoom out, they show a bigger picture. And it's a real good example of how you can move the camera in little stages here and there to keep a flow of a video. You don't have to use scenes. You don't have to use a default. You can combine those things to create something really quite magical. And I love that scribe. So that's you laying out your scribe instant answer on our help site, and that will give you a really good example on there. Just going to see if there's any more questions. Okay, how do I move an object along the scene? So I showed that at the start. I will show it again though, because that was a long old time ago. Let's focus on this scene here. So click on it and show it. So if, for example, if I wanted the sun to come in after life is great, so we'll move along the canvas here a little bit. So you've got the background being drawn, and then we'll draw the person, the bubble, life is great, and then move the sun in at the end after life is great. I can just click on it, hold, drag and drop. And if I wanted that sun to appear on the other side of the page rather than this, I could just pick it up, rotate it if I want. I haven't shown you rotate. There you go. Rotate handles in the middle, and drag it across the screen. There you go. So now when I preview this particular slide, I use play from current element after clicking on the first element in the scene. Instead of the sun coming in now, you've got the person. And it's literally just going to play it in the order that you want it to show on the timeline. You just pick, click, drag, drop. That simple. And now the sun will come in. There you go. And we're going back up here for the edit we made to go back a scene. What other questions have we got? What if your whole project has to be one scene? Okay, so if your whole project has to be one scene, that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to save this work. There you go. Create a new scribe. You can layer and add images on top of each other as much as you like. So, for example, if I wanted to create a scene around a kitchen, let's pick the kitchen scene. You could start building more and more images on that as much as you like, or you don't even have to have a background scene at all, and you can just start building images and rubbing them out afterwards. So if you don't want to move and you just want to move, you don't want to move around the canvas, you can just add the blank out and remove the individual. One cool thing we haven't covered, which I will cover here now, is zero animate time. So on this one, I'm going to drop her animate time down a couple of seconds, and I'm going to drop this down to 0. So rather than rubbing her out, after I've finished, sorry, I hit play from current element, there you go, play it from the start, there she is, and there she's gone. So 0 second animate time will just bring whatever you want onto the canvas without any kind of hand drawing it or anything like that. And so now you can see that, where's that file? There you go. If I move that over to there, cool. And then I can replace on top of that with, say, the happy lady. Okay. Select all, hit the camera position. She's gone, and in comes the happy lady. So you can just use that to build up an entire scene in one place. I'd be careful around that. I quite like using the canvas. It adds, that extra movement adds some interest. So I would try and avoid just one scene, but you can rub things out and put other things on top if you just want to use one scene. Okay, so you meant you want to move a person along. We have something called morph, which will allow you to move the person along. What I'll do is I'll get rid of that. So I'm just hitting delete on the keyboard to get rid of that if I want to remove an element, or there's a little bin button there to delete an element. So you've now got the 2 women. So if you want to move someone across the scene, we have something called morph, which is really quite a cool thing. It was quite an advanced thing, so I wasn't going to show it today, but I'm just going to select those. Morph works best with outline images rather than color images. It doesn't morph color, so you need to change your images to outline. To do that, you can double click, drop down the full color option here and select outline instead. And so you just got an outline of the individual. Go to the next one, outline. Okay, so now I've got the same person on the same scene into outline options. If I click on the second one and click on the properties, I have morph as an option. When I select that, it's going to ask me what I want to morph from, and I want to morph from the original individual because I've only got 2 images on the screen, and I want to clear the item at the end, so that's going to remove the original item after the morph. Okay, so if I play that, it will draw the original person, and then she will morph and change into the new one, which is really cool. However, if I just wanted to move her along the screen, rather than having this new image, I could select the image, I could have the original image, just resize that slightly so it's the same one, same size. Now when I play this, she moves across the screen. So where you've got the same image, rather than morphing and changing image, it will just move, and that's a really, really cool way of moving someone across the screen. And if you make sure you've got the clear person ticked, it will get rid of her at the other end. If you haven't, it will just create a second copy. So if I take off clear item and hit play, I'm going to move her and leave the original. Up to you which looks best and which would fit your need the most. I think there's an example asking for an example of a continuous scene. I haven't really got time for that now. There's only a couple of minutes left. As I said, check out the laying out your scribe instant answer for that one, and you will see how that's done. You just need to take all the camera positions off, and that will show a continuous scene. The other option is you can go across a bit by bit as well, which is quite nice. I'm trying to see if I can do that with this one quickly. In fact, the quickest way to show you that scenario and show you how that's made, use the example scribe. So this is built into VideoScribe. This is available to all of you as soon as you download and use VideoScribe. And this is a more continual drawing, more continual scene, and uses the cameras in very clever ways. Has a bit of both, but you can see continuation between your slides. So if I play this from the start, this is kind of just our example of how VideoScribe can be used. You can see some of those images are using the hand, some of them aren't. You can see lines are crossing over between scenes to add that extra continuousness to it. That's the wrong word, but yeah, continuity. And you can see that sometimes you zoom out and the last scene's still visible and you're carrying on. You can see elements of your last things in different scenes. And so how that's created is you've just got images that overlap. So when this one is drawn over here, you're kind of looking at it from this point of view, but the line goes down. And so when you go down, it follows it. And then over here, you're adding your own images. And so if I click on that particular item, you can see that the camera position for this one is zoomed in, whereas the camera position for this one still has this in its view, and you just zoom out. Awesome. Okay, hopefully that covers all of your questions. We are just about out of time now. If we haven't covered something you would like to know, worry not. We are available via our help site. So if you visit help.videoscribe.co, there are lots of instant answers on there which show you all sorts of options, and you can also raise a ticket with the support team from that site. There's a Your Tickets button on that site, and that will allow you to talk to our support team. And yeah, I'm just going to bring, there you go. So there's me. There's Jay, that's the gentleman you've been chatting to on Help. So if you go to any of our websites and hit Help at the top of the page, or if you just type in help.sparkle.com like I have here, you come here, you can click instant answers for VideoScribe, and from here you've got access to all of our tutorials. You can search, so laying out your scribe is an option. There you go. And it talks you through different views, different ways of doing things, and this is the video I was talking about at the bottom, which is really cool, and uses VideoScribe's camera position in a really intuitive